Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto, where we take the markets one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. And it's been quite a journey, ladies and gentlemen. I want to walk you through a little bit about what we've been through, basically through the first half of this year, and what a crazy year it's been. Bitcoin's gone from, not in 2021, but in 2020 down, from 3,000 up throughout the year. Up until now, we hit about 65,000 as our high. Hitting what is a Wyckoff accumulation. I'm sure everyone has heard the name Wyckoff by now. If you didn't know about him before, Wyckoff is one of the OGs for technical analysis, one of the very first people to realize almost anything. As a matter of fact, almost everything that you do in the markets probably comes from Wyckoff in some way, shape, or form. He really, really was one of the first people. Jesse Livermore, William O'Neill, all the greats used Wyckoff. So we had a Wyckoff distribution phase up here at about 60, 65K, moving into a Wyckoff accumulation phase, which for me seems very abnormal. I can't remember ever seeing anything like that. Although I'm not a Wyckoff aficionado, I have been kind of reading up on a lot of Richard Wyckoff's teachings, and his accumulation phase, similar to his distribution phase, there's different parts to it, and there's different legs, and each thing kind of means something different. He tries to rationalize his way through the markets, very similar to the way that I do. I actually find myself reading through Wyckoff because I'm doing a lot more research on him now, and really finding a lot of the things that I notice in the market being explained by Wyckoff, which is a great place to be. So let's go through this accumulation that is happening with Bitcoin, and I hope you guys are going to get something out of it. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And also stick around to the end of the video when I explain what all of this means. And if you leave early, that's your fault. All right, so Wyckoff has multiple phases. There's typically about 5 or so phases. I think we're in the latter stage of those. And so we start here with phase A. Now, the phase A of the pattern is where you'll find your ultimate low. All right, and your ultimate low, this is really what everything is based off of. And I have a trend line for the low of this kind of in the wrong place, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So phase A, we have our ultimate low. We move into phase B pretty quickly, which is our ultimate high. All right, so we go all the way down, we come all the way back up. And this is almost essentially what defines our range. Okay, and then after we go into our high, we come back down into a failed test low. All right, we fail to go under the prior low. That's usually a good sign because we're able to find some support. And you can also notice the volume is lower. Wyckoff doesn't do a tremendous amount with volume, but you can tell here the volume here is significantly lower from our ultimate low. All right, after that, we move into our failed test high. So we have our ultimate high over here. We failed to get back above there. Now the failed test low and the failed test high, this is where I like to draw my trend lines. This may be something specific to me, but whichever one of these is higher, I really try to keep I really try to keep my bars more narrow if I can. And so in this regard, that's why you're going to see these in slightly different locations probably than what some other people have them. Just a personal preference of mine. So after you have the failed test high, obviously it's a failed test, we're going to move lower. Then we end up with a failed swing low. So we failed to test higher, but we failed to swing lower at this phase. We start to curl back up, and we get into a failed swing high. So at this point, our range is starting to narrow. And that is a good thing. You want your range to narrow. Now, at this point, you may not even understand you're in a Wyckoff accumulation event, because you don't have any other, there's lots of other things that go into Wyckoff accumulation. And right now, people are talking about it because we just came out of a Wyckoff distribution, but typically that isn't the case. I do remember in 2017, people said, oh, we're going to go back up in the next 6 months or a year or so. And it's just not the case. Once you have these major events, it's highly unlikely that you move into another major event. But this time it does appear that is loosely the case. But right now you don't necessarily know you're in Wyckoff accumulation. There's a couple of very key signals coming up that actually give you the clue that, okay, maybe we're okay, and then you start to fit the model and make it a Wyckoff model. People calling it early on, really just shooting in the dark. Okay, so the failure swing high, and then we end up moving lower to a failure swing low spring. Now this particular one, it does get all the way back down to the 30,000, but there's a spring effect. It actually bounces right back up when you close with this very bullish candle well off of the lows, actually closing above the low of the failure swing low, which is pretty good. Very, very nice, strong candle. So after that spring, you can assume we're going to bounce up a little bit. We do bounce up a little bit, and then what we end up with is a test rally swing low. Now, the test rally swing low, after you get the spring, it bounces up. You expect to test the lows, and that's what it does. So this is a test rally swing low. And then we move up and actually surpass our failure swing high into what is known as a holy shit, we're going higher now, oh maybe not setup. And in this setup, we go back, we test the high, and we actually don't quite break out. So when you have the HSWGHNOWN candle, at that point you realize, okay, well, we've had this FSL spring. At this point, we failed to go lower and we failed to go higher. We're probably going to go back and test. Now it's a full-fledged range. You have 3 tests of the high, 3 tests of the lows. So then we move lower and we move into our RUFSLHSTBW. Very classical signal, all right? And this is a major swing failure. And at this point, you're thinking, okay, maybe this is some type of an accumulation. All right. For those of you uninitiated, that's called the real undercut failure swing low. Holy shit, this better work candle. And you're really looking, you have additional bullish sentiment. You have it here on the spring, but on this one, you have higher volume. And so that is really where you're hoping that things stabilize out. All right, after that, we move up. We get the, oh my God, we're going higher. Oh no, we're not candle. Sorry, need a little bit more space right there. So that's the candle. So after the spring, some people think we're going to bounce straight back up. And that's really what this candle gets you. But unfortunately, it doesn't. It stalls right kind of where we broke down. Very classical signal right there. And then after the OMG, WGH, ONWN, then we move lower again and retest the lows. This is where you start to think, okay, maybe this is a thing. Then it starts to look very classical, okay? It's a spring low, higher test, failure, reversal. All right, so we test the spring. We're not able to go down. We reverse it. And then we go in and test our OMG, WGH, ONWN candle with a man, we're okay candle. Okay, so you're able to get over this point right here, your point of resistance, and you're saying, man, we're okay. All right, so we're in a man, we're okay candle. This is a good candle to have because when you have an MWOK candle, what it's telling you is that, okay, the market does have some upside pressure. We're able to stay off of the lows. After the RUFSLHSTBW candle, you're really hoping that low holds. And when you have the MWOK candle at this stage, you're like, man, we're okay. Now, what we're doing right now today's a scary day. It's July 5th. And this is, the markets are closed in the US for those of you that don't know. And this is a very interesting candle. This is a holy shit, I hope we're still good candle. When you get the HSIHWSG candle, when you get this candle and then you can break over the man, we're okay candle, then you move into what is really classical NOP phases of the market rally. And I think we all know where things go from there. So, all right, guys, that's all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Wyckoff accumulation is real. I do think we're in the middle of it. I'm just having some fun with all the definitions because in my Slack channel, some people are posting stuff like this with acronyms that nobody knows what these things mean. So I thought I'd have some fun with it and just really get crypto with it and just go a little bit bonkers. But I do believe that the accumulation is real, and the holy shit, I hope we're still good candle is pretty much what today is about. We're trying to test the lows. We need to get above the man, we're okay candle. And if we can get above there and start moving our way up, we'll get into the holy shit, we're going higher now. Oh, maybe not. We'll get the holy shit, we're going higher now. Yes candle. And that's really what we're looking for going forward here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. I hope you appreciate the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.